Hi everyone, this is Smriti. Welcome to QA automation classes. In the last session, we have seen the implicit wait, right? And what is the demerit with the implicit wait, right? And what are the properties of the implicit wait we have already covered in the last session. Okay, so basically, when you use the implicit wait, then this wait is going to be applicable for the each line of the code or each web element that we are going to use in the script. Okay, and one more thing we saw, after implicit wait is mentioned, after that all the statement will have that implicit wait will be applicable to them, right? And the problem with the implicit wait is it is applicable for the entire script. Okay, so let's say there is one example also we have seen, right? So where we had a okay, let me refresh this one. So where we had a checkbox, not checkbox, input text box, and that was disabled, right? And there is a button to enable it. Okay, but here, even though you go with the implicit wait and click on enable and then you try to enter something, it was giving a element not interactable exception, right? Why? Because this element is present in the UI, right? So the implicit wait will assume, okay, the element is present, let's go ahead with the remaining steps of the execution, right? But what was happening? But we have to wait. There is a wait, but there is a loader over here, right? You have to wait for that time. Implicit wait will never do that. Okay, so this kind of the synchronization issue can be overcome with the explicit wait. Okay, so this kind of the explicit wait is applicable for a specific web element. Okay, instead of being associated with the driver instance, right? In the implicit wait, it is associated with the entire driver instance, and that is applicable throughout the script, right, for that complete driver object. Okay, so now with the explicit wait, right, this is applicable for a specific web element, right? I want to have some condition, I want to wait for this element to be enabled, right? Text box to be enabled. I can write a code, I can use the explicit wait for this text box to be enabled. The execution will halt or the pause till this becomes the enabled, and whatever time duration I have given, right? Within that time, if it is enabled, then it will go with the next step of the execution. Okay, and it is suitable when other exceptions were supposed to be raised other than the presence of element or the no such element exception, right? So when we want to give the different wait time to the different web element, let's say for here I want to give some time duration, let's say 5 seconds. Here I want to give 10 seconds, right? That also you can do, because your explicit wait works on the individual web element level, right? For each of the web element we can expect the condition, and we can also give whatever time duration we want to wait. Okay, so and it can use with the Ajax application, right, where the part of the pages keeps on loading continuously, right? And one more important thing, this explicit wait, right, it keeps on pulling the DOM, that is the document object model, multiple times for the duration specified. For example, if you have given some time duration 30 seconds, it might search the DOM 10 times or 15 times in the duration of the 30 seconds. Okay, so it continuously pulls the DOM. Okay, so that is another property of the explicit wait. So we need to use the WebDriverWait class, and it has three different constructors that we are going to see. Okay, so let's go to here. Okay, fine. So implicit wait. Okay, copy this one exactly. We'll create a new class for explicit wait. So instead of implicit, let's say explicit wait. Okay, cool, fine. Okay, so in the explicit wait, okay, so we're going, and instead of implicit wait, we'll get rid of this one. Okay, these things we don't need, and swap input dot click. This is navigating to this URL and clicking on this button so that it will become enabled, and after that we'll enter something into that text box. Okay, this is what we're going to do. So before that we have to use the explicit wait. Okay, so how to use the explicit wait? So for that, as I told, we have to use the WebDriverWait. Okay, WebDriverWait, you can see here it's a class WebDriverWait. WebDriver wait equals to new, say WebDriver wait. Okay, so now here if you see, I told we have the three different types of the constructor. Okay, so if you see WebDriver driver, and we can pass duration of the timeout. This is the first constructor, and the second constructor is going to take driver instance and then duration and sleep duration, and third one is going to take the driver and then duration of the timeout and duration of the sleep, and this is not null clock, it takes the clock and the sleeper. Okay, so basically we're going to use the first one most of the time. Okay, so now WebDriver wait, and here we're going to pass the driver, right? So whatever the driver we have here, right? So pass the driver instance here, driver. Okay, and we are going to give some time duration, right? So for the duration, what you do, so you say duration of seconds. Okay, so duration of seconds, long seconds. Okay, so I'll give like 10 seconds, right? So that should be okay. So now 10 seconds you give. Okay, so now what it is going to do, it is going to this one will write after clicking on that button, right? Not here, after this step. Okay, makes sense now? So we'll navigate to the application. After navigating to the application, we'll try to click on the enable button. After clicking on the enable button, we have to wait for 10 seconds, and then this field will get enabled, and here in the text area we can input the QA automation classes. Okay, so let's try to run it. Hope these CSS selectors are valid still. So we need to give the one also. So wait dot okay, let's see what can be done here. Wait dot, and we have to give the conditions, right? So until, okay, so with until, what you are going to see, you are going to say expected conditions. Okay, so what is this expected conditions? Okay, so this is nothing but your the expected condition is an interface, but we are going with the expected conditions class. Okay, expected conditions dot. Okay, and here this class has a lot of the methods. Okay, so if you see, right, so this expected condition is a class, and it has a lot of static methods. Okay, so what are the static methods we have here? You see, alert is present, title is, and attribute contains, attribute to be, attribute contains, attribute to be not empty. Okay, whatever. So elements, selection state to be, element to be clickable. This is something what we are going to use, right? And element to be clickable, and you can give the expected conditions of the web element, right? And element to be selected, element to be selected. Okay, frame to be available, number of elements to be more than 5, 10, any value you can give, right? So there are a lot of conditions are present, right? Visibility of the element, right? Invisibility of the element. So but we are going to use element to be clickable, because element to be clickable. Okay, with element these many options are there. Element to be clickable, to be selected, to be selected. Let's say element to be clickable, right? Because this is unclickable now, right? Element to be clickable, and then we are going to give the what we are going to give. So we are going to give the locator, right? Element to be clickable, and we are going to give the locator. Okay, fine. So here what is the web element? Did we save that? I think we can save this driver.find element by CSS selector. Let's store it. Okay, so let's say web element. Okay, input box equals to this one. Okay, so now web element alt enter, you can import this one, import this class, and then okay, input text box, and then input box. Okay, to be clickable. Okay, this to be clickable, it has to wait. After that we can give that this one input text box dot send keys. Okay, now this should be okay. So now we can run this on explicit wait. Right click and run explicit wait .main. Okay, so now let's see whether it is going to work or not, if there are any issues. Okay, 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 still building. Okay, we can wait for some more time. So here, and the problem with this explicit and implicit wait is like it keeps on continuously pulling the down, right? So if the web element is not available, still multiple times it pulls the DOM, right? Which unnecessarily adds a lot of pulling calls from the WebDriver to the DOM, right? So that is one thing, that performance is a concern here, right, in case of implicit and explicit wait. So that's why we will go with the fluent wait in the next session. Okay, so but let's see the execution and see how exactly it is working. Okay, build completed successfully. Okay, browser got opened. Now trying to navigate to the URL. Okay, cool, expanded, click on enable, waiting for the 10 second. Awesome, enter the QA automation classes text into the text box. Okay, so that's what is the test case. Okay, so basically what you need to do, you have to create the WebDriverWait class. Okay, so WebDriverWait and give the object reference name equals to new WebDriverWait, and here there are three types of the constructor. The first one is going to accept the driver instance and the duration, right? To what duration you want to wait. So I'm saying duration of seconds 10, so just wait for the 10 second, and then web element input box first identify that web element. Okay, and save it. Okay, by giving some web element variable name. Okay, and then wait dot until. Okay, and here you say expected conditions. Expected conditions is a class. Okay, and it has lot of the static methods. Okay, so you can use any of the methods like alert present, attribute to be, we went through this one, right? Invisibility of the element, presence of the element. Okay, look at it, lot